How do I delete it? Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Oh, welcome back to the CONVO Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pastor Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
Anyways, we have a long show today. We got a lot of stuff going on. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining our Patreon, 67 Patreons. I just want to say thank you. I was looking through some of the messages last night, and you guys show a lot of love. David Harris, you write a lot. Michael Cruz, but we read it all. We do appreciate it.
We do.
We also have our Facebook, our YouTube, our Twitter, our Twitch, but more importantly, we have our Rockfin, and we see more and more people joining the Rockfin every day. Please take a look at it. Join it. Rockfin. ROKFIN. Your hair looks nice today.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Okay, fam. So you had a lot to talk about Pelosi.
Yes.
Because she is heavily tied to this Ukraine gate situation, just as Adam Schiff is, just as a variety of these Democrats are, not just Donald Trump. So let's get to it, fam.
Okay.
What did Nance do?
So Nance has a little problem in the Ukraine, and as you know, we call her Nance because Fiorella called her Nance on her voicemail. Did you hear back from her?
No, she never called me back. I was really upset. I was waiting for a phone call from my great aunt Nancy. Nance.
Remember when we talked about this whole situation when it comes to the impeachment? And I said this before that they don't want to open up Pandora's box because once they start opening up Pandora's box, all these Democrats are going to come forth. Have to come forth with all the crimes they've committed. But it seems like this whole thing is sidestepping. Like I think Donald Trump took a note in Saudi Arabia of putting everything in his son's names. Therefore, they can't go after him with emoluments. But it looks like he learned it from somebody. Maybe he learned it from Adam Schiff. Maybe he learned it from Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and Hunter Biden. But it turns out Nancy Pelosi's son, Paul, has done a little business in the Ukraine himself. And you can see it. He is executive at a gas company. He did business in the Ukraine. And down below, there's also a video as well, I believe, which has him talking about the energy company. It has Nancy Pelosi kind of sponsoring it. He was out there in 2017. Nancy Pelosi was in the Ukraine in 2017 with him, and therefore they have oil business now inside Ukraine. I wonder how they got the contracts for him. Maybe it's a friendly government. Exactly. And I said this before. There she is. Take a look.
To create it yourself. When President Obama became president of the United States, he elevated science to a higher place in our national priorities. It is science, 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 and science. Breaking our crippling addiction to oil. They are developing desirable, efficient cars that get more than 100 miles per gallon. My son Paul, who is here with me, tells me that that is par for the course and not to be overwhelmed by that prospect that will be considered the normal.
So there's Nancy Pelosi. Then her son comes in. He talks about everything that's going on. They give you the blah, 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 like they're being eco-friendly. No, it's an oil company, and they have their hands, of course, in Ukraine and in Ukraine's natural resources. So there you go. I put a little clip up because I just really, before you say anything, there's Nancy if you want, but remember when I told you about the chickens is coming home to roost? Look who says it right here.
The chickens are coming home to roost, Bobby Boucher. You reap the fruit of your selfish ways.
You reap the fruit of your selfish ways. Fam, any opinions on the Democrats and Nance?
Well, I just think it's ridiculous that people aren't really seeing this. I think, like I said yesterday, only a few of the independent media journalists are actually getting this right. And it's just really irritates me because now I'm having to, in a way, defend what Donald Trump is saying as valid because they don't have, not only do they not have the ability to impeach him based on this incident, they refuse to impeach him on what they should be impeaching him on. And now Nancy's name is being elevated as like this martyr that's taking down Trump. And you know, impeach Nancy, like Nancy for president, and that she should she's doing wonderful, and that we need to impeach Trump. And then so the right is saying impeach Nancy because
Yeah.
of what she's doing. And it's turned into this whole circus where none of the actual issues of corruption that all of these people have been participating in is being discussed. And we're in the middle of a primary where we should be discussing what these candidates are doing. We're a week from a debate. Why is this the thing? Why is this battle, this political theater of bad actors going at it at each other? It's really doing nothing for the American people. Like we said, impeachment would do nothing for us. And Nancy Pelosi is being hailed as a hero by the left, and being like just trashed by the right. And you're giving the right a reason to come back to these elections and vote against the Democratic Party. And that's all that's happening.
You know, I think it does have some positives. I mean, it's a lot of negatives we talked about. It's really a distraction. And I think the whole Ukraine gate, you know, and just watching MSNBC last night, I watched a clip of Michael Moore. It's like they just don't get it. Nobody understands it. It's like they want him to keep pushing forth in this impeachment.
Well, it's because of Trump hatred.
It is. It's TDS. It's Trump deranged syndrome. They can't get past it. And I always said this. Why would they open up an impeachment inquiry when it comes to Ukraine? Because Ukraine gate's going to turn into Biden gate. Biden gate's going to turn into the DNC gate. Their hands were in this. We knew about Adam Schiff. We knew about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. Obama has to speak for a lot of these issues and whatnot because we perpetuated a coup. We supported a coup. We backed the Europeans and we joined together because it was anti-Russian. Let's not forget about the main player here because I want to talk about him right now. The main player when it comes to Europe, when it comes to Eastern Europe, has always been George Soros. And George Soros, I found this awesome little video that somebody's been floating around. It's 3 years ago. Here's a little clip from RT showing the fuckery from George Soros. Check this out.
Hackers have leaked over 2,000 documents linked to billionaire George Soros and his grant-making organization, Open Society Foundation. The papers exposed the group's ongoing attempts to influence political processes in Europe, in Russia, other parts of the world as well. Here's Guy Chichikan.
Leaked documents from George Soros's Open Society Foundations show persistent efforts by the organization to influence the political process in Europe. To reach out to European voters, the organization has funded local advocacy groups, social media projects, and journalists. Here's an example. Over $130,000 went to a project by a group called EU Observer.
This project uses professional news reporting to foster debate on how open society values are under stress in the run-up to the European elections. EU Observer recruited experienced local journalists to visit campaign events, conduct interviews and solicit high-level op-eds in 16 countries.
While the Soros organization has been doing all this hard work trying to influence politics in Europe, a leaked document shows the organization's $500,000 effort to find evidence of Russia's alleged influence in Europe's political life. The proposal reads, quote, "The evidence is still rather sketchy and based more on strong allegations, hence the need to first do a proper mapping," end quote.
I think that the European public is underreacting, and that's why I'm trying to explain to them the real danger that Russia represents.
From the leaked document, we also see that the Soros team recognizes the problem of trying to accuse Russia of influencing politics in Europe.
Naming and shaming from us is problematic. We also are in the business of channeling money into other countries for political purposes.
When he says democracy, he means Sorosocracy.
Wow. Okay.
You know what? Can we put that out real quick? Because I want him rather. We might as well. He says Sorosocracy. He just gives a little. After he says, just finish it up and all.
He doesn't mean what we might otherwise think of democracy. He wants to wreck Europe. That's why he's for all these open borders and these vast numbers of people coming in.
Over the years, George Soros has been.
I just wanted to finish up his quote when he said Sorosocracy. You know, and the fact that he said George Soros wants to wreck Europe.
Do you really believe that open borders are going to wreck Europe, though? Because that seems like a right-wing talking point.
Well, I don't think that it's going to wreck Europe. But here's the thing: I think they want one monetary system in Europe. I believe
They're more globalist.
Yeah, they want one system where they can control large amounts of people, where they can tell Greece that they have to be put forth in austerity measures and have to pay them back, where they can, use one channel to force people. That's why I think when Italy came in and was telling the EU to go scratch, it was so big. But yes, I do believe that they want one currency to rule in that area, and that's why they tried to make the move into Ukraine, starting maybe back in 2004, 2005 with I believe it was the Orange Revolution, and up until 2014 when they backed another revolution. But you saw that there, all the journalists, they go after journalists. They use the media to dictate their narrative. You know what I'm saying? They use the media to fool people. So, and they take away and they suppress independent media like ourselves, keep us quiet. They don't let us talk the truth. They shadow ban us. They do everything. But that's what George Soros is all about. He funded a lot of these journalists and these independent media companies, these NGOs in the Ukraine. So I just wanted to show one more connection.
Maybe the open border thing is in reference of the mass migration,
I think open
that's
borders
how
is treated differently in Europe as than it is here.
Well, it's a bigger problem because there's a huge migration problem, right? And it's because of the wars that the United States has participated in, the regime change in the Middle East and everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
The open borders allows them, when they had Libya and it had that mass migration of immigration going into Europe, the open borders allows the immigrants to spread out. Once again, it's that slave labor for an elite kind. What did they say? What did he say that one time, Tucker? It's a working class for the ruling class.
It's a working class for the ruling class.
A working class for the ruling class. Cheap labor. So that's what it's all about, too, as well. But we have to talk about this connection, fam, about Soros and Pelosi. Because there was something in the Guatemala trip she just went to that shows that Soros if you Google this, you DuckDuckGo this is all over there. Is Nancy Pelosi's Guatemala trip a cover to meet up with George Soros conduit? The answer is yes, because there's been other situations. There's been a big picture floating around. If you go down in that particular article, look at this, fam. Oh, you know who that is? That's George Soros' son and Nancy Pelosi. The connections are there. We showed you the connections between Soros and Schiff. There are connections between Soros and Nancy Pelosi. We know who's pulling the strings now. You know it. It's there. It's in the open. People and oligarchs like George Soros. So my question to you, fam, is as this keeps opening up and more we go diving in this, should the Democrats halt this impeachment process right away?
I think they're too far gone to halt it. At this point, I think they've invested so much time and so much energy and so much validity in it that if they halt it, it would look bad for them. But if they don't halt it, it's gonna end up screwing them anyway.
Yeah.
So I really think that they have to go through with it, and
I mean, the question is, who's next?
They can pretend, they can halt it and use any kind of excuse, but the reality is they're all involved in this. And if, let's say for a minute that if Trump, Don Jr. was doing what Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden did, and their kids were doing, we would have a completely different they'd be all over it. They'd be all about it.
Yeah.
It'd be targeting them directly. But it's ridiculous to look over what Trump's doing and not also take Nancy, Biden, and Adam Schiff accountable to what they've been doing. And just shows you that, just like when we saw the Ellen DeGeneres laughing with George Bush at the Cowboys game, they're all one big club. It doesn't matter if they're left or right. They're all corrupt in their own ways. Trump may not have a hand in this right now, but he's done other things that he should be held accountable for. Same as Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and Adam Schiff. And they're trying to all place blame on the other and avoid complete accountability. Meanwhile, nothing of substance gets done for the American people. And I think that's why people like Tulsi Gabbard are rising in the polls, because they're done with that sort of thing. She's not paying attention to that. She's not focused on that. And I think we as a people need to not focus on this. Tell them, why are you guys still talking about this? Just like with Russiagate, this is a waste of time. This is doing nothing for the American people. The American people are suffering, and you guys need to do your jobs.
Wow. I always talked about this being a little bit different, that Trump's emoluments are in Saudi Arabia. And the biggest difference is Saudi Arabia was a country, a dictatorship, monarchy, but he didn't go in there and perpetuate regime change to get his way and has put everything under his son's names. The emoluments for the Democrats, a lot of them are in Ukraine. And the biggest difference is that they perpetuated regime change with George Soros. They changed the government to benefit themselves. Right. And that's the big on top of this. Has Trump been damaged in any way by this, fam?
Trump?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think he's been damaged. I think he's actually being elevated by his base. Yeah. His base thinks he's a martyr, he's a victim, all of these things. I think not only does his base think that, I think it's probably pulling people away from the Democratic Party. I think this has done nothing but damage the Democratic Party. They think they're winning because their echo chamber is like, yeah, impeach him. Like, but really, like, even if you hate Trump, like, impeaching him under this does nothing.
This is the wrong area.
Except hurt us.
This is the wrong area to impeach him. Has the Democrats already handed Trump the victory for 2020 with this? Because I think unless it's a Bernie or a Tulsi or something like that, that it's over.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any establishment Democrat has a chance now.
No.
Because of this latest move that, like you said, they elevated him. They lifted him up.
And maybe that's on purpose because Trump would be better than Bernie and or a Tulsi, right?
Yeah. Look, you see, where's that meme with Johnny? Johnny says maybe this is on purpose. Think.
They would rather have Trump than Bernie. That's the thing.
We have a super chat.
We do have a super chat on the Convo Couch YouTube.
Random nobody.
Oh, random nobody. You know, to us, you are a special somebody. Where are we? There we are. Ooh, a good one for $10. We love you, random nobody. It's pretty simple to me. As long as the elites can continue about their business, it's irrelevant of who is in the White House. This is a show for the masses. This stuff is a show for the masses.
Absolutely.
Thank you. This stuff, when you talk about this stuff, this impeachment thing, it is all theater.
Theater. I didn't know they were such great actors, but.
Yeah. All right. So, fam, before we get on to the next subject, I want to say hi to some people on the MCSC network. Here we are. Thank you very much for Dr. Winston Obugi, Alex, Inge Jorgenberg, Vicious E, Dana Fairbanks.
Hi, Dana.
Hi, Dana. We always love to see Dana. Willie Philly Fee. Did I say that right? Willie Philly Fee. Natalie Chavez.
Hi, Natalie.
Jesus
Shout out.
Zamora. Thank you so much. We love to see you guys over on the Convo Couch YouTube. Jesus Zamora's over there, too. He's all over the place.
Good. Thank you.
John Hines, Ruben Masagwa. We love you, buddy. Julie Martinez, George Kraft, Face Value, and Ghostwriter DOF. Edwin Medina's there as well, fam. One of your faves.
Over here on the Twitch, we have 6 viewers.
Ooh, 6 viewers.
Let's see. Tony Watches Closely is watching us closely. Sus Vez also made a comment, and yeah.
Any comments on what we just said that stand out?
Tony Watches Closely says he likes the picture of Nancy.
Thank you. I like it because we were trying to distinguish or make a decision on whether we should put it up or not.
Yeah.
On the Facebook, we love all these people. It's kind of funny. Our audiences are smaller on the Facebook, but they're more intimate because we know them. Yeah. Not that we want you to come over to the Facebook. Stay on the YouTube. But for the people who do are on the Facebook, Jason Small, Steve Wolbrandt, Pijman, Gabriel Ramirez. We love you, fam. Love you, Pijman. And Mikey U. Mikey U. Who do you got Thursday night? Take the Islanders tonight. They already started. It's too late. Let's get on over to our next topic. Fam. Surprise.
So Bernie gets some clapback for his getting money out of politics bill from these lobbyists. So they basically said, according to The Hill, on the substance side, that housing a convention is a major endeavor that can strap the budgets of parties and cities. The money has to come from elsewhere, and cutting off corporate donations may further depress interest in hosting a convention, said Stuart Verderl, the CEO of Public Affairs from Monument Advocacy. He also said that on the image side, Democrats always have to balance their populist rhetoric with quieter outreach to the business community, telling companies who would like to partner with the party to take their ball and go home will easily feed into an anti-capitalist motif, he added. That's exactly what we want. 17 donors funded about 75% of the 2016 Democratic National Convention, which included donations of more than $1 million from companies like Comcast, Petco Energy, AT&T, Facebook, and the Bank of America. This is according to the Center for Responsive Politics. Because in Bernie's proposal, he said that the lobbyists from donor monies, he's trying to get rid of them everywhere and filed with the VIP studies at the convention. This happened, which was held in Philadelphia, which is the home of Comcast and Petco. So none of these companies that contributed more than $1 million actually responded to the request for comment, which makes perfect sense. But yeah.
It reminds me of the Mickey Kantz video when she talks about all the money that they had, the Democratic Party, the majority of it, 90% of it, went into three vendors' pockets. You know what I'm saying? And what happened to that money? And here we go again. Would you say 75% of the donations came from what? 17 to 19 people? Ridiculous. Do we have an open, free, and fair democracy? Who's running stuff? It looks like the corporations are.
And the Bernie campaign responded by saying that Bernie Sanders is building an unprecedented grassroots movement campaign to end corruption. And as a nominee, he would host a grassroots conventions for delegates, party members, teachers, workers, nurses, farmers, and students. Corporate lobbyists will never buy influence with Bernie, period, said Josh Orton, the Sanders National Policy Director. So he's not playing. And it is because of this that I believe what Johnny said is true, that I think they don't care if Donald Trump wins. They would rather have Donald Trump win than somebody like Bernie Sanders get there. And that's getting more and more clear. There have been several donations to Pete Buttigieg, too. I think Pete Buttigieg is like the VP a guy that they're
why he's
looking
hanging
at.
around?
Like, he's been hanging around
Goldman
too.
Sachs
Yeah,
guy that's on his campaign too,
and
as
he
well.
comes off as like this sweet guy that's just so soft and kind and
please.
platitudey to people who don't know that the money is there and that these people are nefarious and that these people are doing everything they can. So, I think this is great. Another thing I wanted to point out that they said, though, is that they're saying that Bernie is desperate, that he wants to beat Elizabeth Warren. And this lobbyist said that this was a desperate move by Sanders to gain ground on Elizabeth Warren, who his chief ideological rival in the Democratic primary, saying Bernie is falling behind Warren and needs to try to be relevant again, following her missive on taxing free speech and lobbying. This is completely a game of one-upmanship from a desperate campaign that doesn't have the ability to draft a 27-page thesis like Warren. This Democratic lobbyist said. So I want to ask all of you who like Elizabeth Warren, what do you really think that if she was a true progressive, that she was a true threat to Wall Street and the establishment, that Democratic lobbyists would be siding with her and saying, and just smearing Bernie like this, saying that his campaign is in trouble, that he's grasping desperately. He just had 1 million phone calls in less time than was needed. He has 1 million donors. He has a donor wall full of millions of names of these donors. He has 1 million volunteers plus. He has an unprecedented campaign, can raise money like this, and every time you attack him, he raises more money. How is he desperate? Yeah. I think you guys are the ones that are desperate, and it's very, very clear that Elizabeth Warren is on that side, and they're propping her up because they'd rather have her, as threatening as she is to Wall Street, than Bernie Sanders.
Well, they didn't get their plan together right now because the lobbyists who did this, and guess what? Neera Tanda spoiled your plan. When Neera Tanda was propping her up and pushing down Bernie, I was like, something's going on here. Like, that was the beginning of, like, wait a second. And then as we go through this process, you showing us all the money trails and everything you've talked about, it's like, holy cow. For me, the last straw was her walking out there with Hillary Clinton. I still think that's awful. But once again, you have a Democratic lobbyist propping up Elizabeth Warren. If this was a true progressive, no Democratic, Republican, or any lobbyist would be pushing her.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You don't see lobbyists pushing up to Bernie Sanders. Yeah. You don't see a lobbyist saying, I'm coming out there for Bernie Sanders, whatnot. No, you don't. So,
Fam, another thing, of course, related to Elizabeth Warren is that now her and her supporters are using sexism once again to escape her backlash of either dishonesty, embellishment, whatever you want to call it. And she stands by her account that she was let go over her pregnancy. She has said that this was the way things were back then, and so have her supporters. They have been tweeting different things saying,
oh boy,
Elizabeth Warren experienced pregnancy discrimination because no one wrote down, quote, fired because pregnant. You are going to be floored when you learn about the experience of any other human woman you know. Emily Crockett, who's a huge Warren supporter, said, it's actually trivially easy to reconcile what some believe are contradictions in Warren's story about her early teaching career and the pregnancy discrimination she experienced, and she made a whole thread on it. Then Randy Weingarten said, this happened to women everywhere all the time. Why the attacks on Elizabeth Warren? Many women would also leave knowing they would be fired. Elizabeth Warren stands by the account of being pushed on her first teaching job. And then this one by Liv, the response from Bernie supporters around this Elizabeth Warren pregnancy issue is how quick they were to use sexist right-wing claims shows one thing. The Sanders campaign has a sexism problem, and his supporters love it. And then the last one I want to show is our friend Emma, who said it's going to be really fucking sad if progressives' vitriolic criticisms of Warren get intertwined with the mass electorate's sexism and sink her in the general, all because we couldn't have a productive, measured dialogue about the difference between her and Bernie.
Wow.
So,
How virtuous
but,
you are.
So sexism isn't an excuse for dishonesty, you guys. It's just not. Like, I fervently know and understand that women have been discriminated on because they've been pregnant. Nobody is saying that didn't happen. What Elizabeth Warren is being criticized for is her dishonesty, not just in this incident, but in various incidents that we talked about yesterday. Therefore, to use this trope is actually detrimental to actual sexist acts against women, because now you're just throwing it out there and seeing what sticks to it in an effort to defend Elizabeth Warren and her embellishment, at the very, very least embellishments and omittance and changing of stories, whether she was cognizant or not of her lies, whatever. But the fact is she completely changes her story to try to promote this feminist idea that I was a victim and blah, blah, blah. Are there things we could criticize her on all the time? Absolutely. We criticize her on policy all the time, but even that is often taken as being sexist. That woman in that video we showed, oh, if you support Elizabeth Warren, you are sexist at this point. Like, really? Like, no. And Bernie Sanders has more support by women and women of color and people of color in general, poor people, than Elizabeth Warren. So I wanted to show the tweet that I wrote, because it's basically I'm pretty much just regurgitating that criticizing a candidate's integrity and dishonesty across multiple instances is not sexism. As a woman, I'm appalled that such a serious action is now arbitrarily thrown out by centrists to avoid accountability. Sexism is not an excuse for dishonesty.
Do they think that Donald Trump is not going to come after them with this stuff? It was Elizabeth Warren. It was like what they did on the Hill. It was all the thing. Oh, that's racist when you questioned her Native Americanness. Did I say that? Was that a word?
No, that's a pasta word.
Okay, well, a pasta word. When they questioned her Native Americanness, they, her campaigns immediately said, "Oh, this is racist. This is racist comments. How can you be doing this, whatnot?" And now they're doing this, saying this is sexist. Ladies and gentlemen, if Elizabeth Warren is the nominee, this is not even the tip of the iceberg of what Donald Trump is going to come after her with.
If you guys
not
think
the tip of the iceberg,
we as progressives are sexist, just wait till you hear actual people like some of the people on the right and who do have these biases, and like Donald Trump, what he's going to do with this and use your hypocrisy against you. And it's going to be destructive. It's going to annihilate any chance she has. It's going to make her look terrible. And again, that is the key point here. Is it's not even just everything that's being done with her and her campaign. It's the fact that Donald Trump is going to weaponize this entirely. And
some people will come out there and say, you know what, that is sexist. Some people will come out there and say, you know what, that is racist. But most people will be like, no, she's a liar. And she's weaponizing it and using it as a tactic. The fact that she's going out there and trying to say that she's a Native American, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just really hard. I can't see Donald Trump not letting it down.
You can say that's
racist
saying
Pocahontas
towards the Native Americans. What she was doing is actually completely racially blind. And that is the action, right? But these liberals don't look at actions. A lot of them look at the words and the emotions.
All right.
So
I'll be fair and say maybe in the beginning when Warren, that first interview we saw yesterday, maybe, she didn't want to mention that she was fired for being pregnant, and then that she took that other story, and then now, she's kind of using that story now,
Yeah, and it's not the one thing I want to constantly talk about, and it's not the only thing that we're constantly talking about, though, but it was mentioned because of several other instances combined together have shown that she's not consistent, and progressives pay attention to that, and I think nobody is purposely focusing on that. There are other things we should focus on, like her policies and her money. Absolutely. But
Which
even
we
when
have been focusing on a lot.
exactly,
On the show.
even when we do that, even when we didn't touch anything relating to the Native American stuff that I was hesitant to touch on, it doesn't matter. Bernie supporters and people who are progressive, like Tulsi supporters, and anybody that supports like Yang, they're still going to be called sexist. They're still going to be called anti-feminist, no matter what they do or say.
The Bernie bros. Where are the Bernie bros? Fam, what's going on in Ecuador? Do you know?
No, fam, tell me. There's been a lot of things going on in
Yes.
South America.
Well,
actually.
once again, it's South and Central America. You know, you have these uprisings in Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua. You know, I'm saying the funny thing is that there's paid protests against the Daniel Ortega in Nicaragua. Now in Ecuador, you have the citizens, the people of the country, demanding that they stop with these austerity programs because that's all they do. They make slaves out of people. Take a look.
Nos coge a nosotros, a los pobres, directamente meternos la mano en el bolsillo y subiendo la gasolina y el diésel. Necesitamos trabajar y nos duele. A los ricos perdonan y a los pobres nos sacan. Por esa razón estamos nosotros aquí, para defender lo nuestro. Nada más.
Interesting. It's like happening all around the world, right?
Tenemos que levantar hasta que solucione este problema. Vamos a levantar, no vamos a dejar todo, vamos a levantar hasta que firme, hasta que baje la gasolina. Todo tenemos que levantar.
Interesting.
The president's coming up.
Wow.
They hurled petrol bombs. Riot police responded with tear gas.
Crazy.
There was a video of these protesters taking down like one of those tanks.
Oh yeah, really?
It was crazy.
See how like the one guy's trying to calm him down, but
No dialogamos con aquellos que antes robaban el erario público, que antes robaban el presupuesto del Estado y que ahora se dedican a robar tiendas, hasta en eso ha bajado de calidad. No vamos a dialogar. La medida esté firme. No voy a cambiar de opinión. Que quede absolutamente claro.
Yeah, I think I saw a report that said like at least 500 people have been arrested.
the people united will never be defeated. Come on, the people united will never be divided. Divided?
It's both.
All right,
You
see.
just alternate it.
I didn't know that. See, Fam knows, but she's more of an activist. I get out there, but Fam's the activist is activist. Two Leicesters over there, Janice Connolly, Unknown Space Pioneer, Elder 120, Ghost Rider DOF, Billy Bojangles. Remember Bojangles? Y'all are from Florida. Bojangles had
I
that
never
dirty
liked
rice.
it. Yeah.
Oh, man, had that spicy chicken and that dirty rice and awesome-ass biscuits. I loved me some Bojangles.
I love real Southern food, fam. Okay.
Man, in South Florida, there was nothing better than Bojangles. My father used to like that. We used to get the wings.
Bojangles.
Natalie Chavez, Inge Jornberg, Dr. Winston O'Boogie, and yes, Dr. Winston O'Boogie again. In Deep, thank you so much, Mike Honcho over on the MCSC network. That's what's going on in Ecuador. It's crazy.
Unknown Space Pioneer, what's up?
Yep. Oh, by the way, the Caterpillar. The Caterpillar's in there. Tim Johnson, what up, Timmy? Big time, Timmy
I was like,
Jim.
who's the Caterpillar?
The Caterpillar, baby. That's the Caterpillar out there. My man, what's going on? We miss you. Big time, Timmy Jim. Mr. Revolution is in the house.
The revolution has begun.
And Carl Hines. Viva
Sup,
la
Carl?
Italiano? Yes, my man.
Fifi knows best, Carl.
Fifi knows best.
On Ecuador, though, I just want to say those those people that are uprising are the indigenous populations.
Yes, they are.
Like the people from the mountains, the people of the working class. It's very interesting. It reminds me of Venezuela. It reminds me of that. They're uprising because they said that they're gonna take back what's theirs, what belongs to them. It's really interesting how we're seeing this across South America, the political instability, but also the uprising of these very, very poor people. And again, in Venezuela, there are completely different points of views depending on which class you belong to.
Yeah, and it always seems to be an issue of class. Like that protester said, they're going to take out of the poor people's pocket, but they're going to forgive the rich for everything.
Which is what they're doing worldwide.
They're doing everywhere.
Everywhere.
And in Peru, they're protesting too. I don't know if y'all looked into that.
We did. We talked about it. Remember the president and all that stuff that's going on? And
it's kind of complex. I think I saw a Twitter thread and I was trying to understand it. I'm like,
it's all South and Central America. It's an uprising. And everybody's going crazy because, in other words, the oligarchs, the IMF, the monetary system, the banking, that's what goes on. It's all about getting our banking system in there. I don't want to say but the elite's banking system in there.
Right.
So therefore they can just rape the people, you know what I'm saying?
And I will say that the mind frame, the mindset of people in those countries, in South America, their mindset is like, oh, America is like, the United States is a great country, and a lot of them are trying to come here. But I think more are realizing now that the American dream isn't real, isn't true, and that they need to fix shit in their own country.
Yeah. And
You're
I
also
think
seeing that string attached,
and
right?
I think that mindset too, a lot of it is also coming from the middle class in these Latin American countries, where because they see that and they it's not coming from the rural proletarian class in these countries. They have a completely different point of view because to them, the invasion of from Westerners has actually destroyed their way of life. So there's still some of those racial / class implications that have existed in colonialism that are there that make this whole thing so much more complex.
It's good that you use that word. And I think once again the chickens is coming home to roost, Bobby Boucher style. I think with Venezuela, I think a lot of these South and Central American
he wants
people,
chicken, I guess, today.
The chickens is coming home to roost. I say that because now I think a lot of these people in these indigenous areas, they understand that America is pulling the strings.
Right.
They know now. Venezuela knows. They all know. In Nicaragua, they know. They're
Bolivia.
spreading that information. They know. They understand. Honduras, when they moved Manuel Zelaya, they know that was at the behest of the United States government, at the behest of Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. They know. You've talked to these people, fam. They say the leaders' names. They say Barack Obama. They say Hillary Clinton.
They say Hillary Clinton.
They understand.
Yeah.
They know.
And it's happening worldwide. You see China, India, where else? There's all these places that everyone's protesting.
Haiti.
Well, Haiti, that's the thing. Somebody put down today, it's like they'll throw the Hong Kong protest in our face left and right. We'll get plenty of coverage of that.
But you will
But
never
in
see.
Haiti, Iraq, they're not even talking about the protest. We had a picture, Johnny, the other day. What? How many people in Iraq?
That's right, Iraq, yeah.
Okay? So, I mean, the chickens is coming home to roost, and sooner or later, some people got to fall. I think we got to do what, what's his name did. The guy from West Virginia who was running, he said, we need to eat the rich. How do you like that? I'll braise him.
Oh, I love him.
I'll braise Richard
I know
Ojeda? Or?
No. He's a
Ojeda.
Democratic Socialist. There was another guy.
There's another guy. But I can braise him. Nice red sauce. Get a little onion garlic.
I'm
the rich people have eaten good. So,
Sorry.
well, for the sake of getting rid of the rich, we should eat them.
Rotisserie.
Fam, now there's not only corruption going on in Ecuador. There's not only corruption going on in Honduras, Iraq. There's corruption going on right here in our backyard.
In the Democratic Party, fam. So I have this. Hold on. I want to read exactly what Melissa Michelson, Maria Estrada, our local activists were there, and they managed to film this. So we have the video, but I just want to give you guys like a contextual thing. So on Saturday, October 5th, Anthony Mercado was standing up to protect democracy, free speech, and holding the Democratic Party accountable and transparent. A group of activists were peacefully protesting at the local Democratic Party public meeting, regional pre-endorsement conference for KDEM, and a very tall Caucasian man sitting in the first row jumped out of his seat and physically attacked his friend Maria Estrada, who had the bullhorn and who was one of the people protesting. Witnesses saw Anthony come between the two and the man fell to the ground. The paramedics took the Caucasian man to the hospital, but the police took Anthony to jail. Anthony was in jail on a $50,000 bail with a felony, and they were asking for help with legal fees. Maria is pressing charges against the man who attacked her, but nobody has given her the name. But meanwhile, Anthony needs help, and so I posted on my Facebook page the fundraiser GoFundMe. As of yesterday, I believe he was out of it with bail. I don't know how he got out, but he was out. But he faces felony charges. And obviously, we can see in the video that Maria was attacked by a man.
You can see the guy's getting
much,
up and
much
going
bigger
after.
than her.
He put her hands on her, and she even says, "Do we have volume?" Because I think she yells, "Get your hands off me!" This is ridiculous. This man had every right to come over and save her.
You get out of my ear. You.
I think he got knocked out. I think Anthony knocked him out.
I don't think.
I mean, but it's just ridiculous.
It would have been blood.
You don't see the.
Get out of my
I think he just defended her. And
was Anthony
got
in
him
the
between.
middle? Maybe he pushed him, but it looked like he got knocked out.
I'm sorry
to me.
if I'm a friend of a woman, especially a woman that's like Maria Estrada, an activist, a fighter, and I see her being attacked, I'm going to intervene. Why? Like, what is so wrong about that? And the fact that they arrested this person, Anthony Mercado, who's an activist here in the community, and they're trying to put him in jail with $50,000 and a felony charge for simply involving himself. What did they expect people to do? Just let this man attack Maria Estrada?
Yeah.
You could see her backing up. And I understand she had a bullhorn and everything. That doesn't give the right the guy to turn around, grab her, put the hands on her, and try to grab something out of her hands. It was ridiculous. He could have got up and went to the other side of the room if he didn't want to hear the bullhorn. But look at him. He's in her face. You know what I'm saying? And this is the part when Maria Estrada talks about, like white men doing this shit. It happens in her community all the time. In that district, he thinks it's okay to turn around and put his hands on a woman of color and back her up. No, wrong, pal.
Where is the Democratic Party identity politics loving loyalists when this woman continuously gets attacked by them? I mean, Pasta and I have been covering this, especially Pasta at the KDM convention. You saw how it went down with how she was calling them out for their cheating, for Anthony Rendon, for what was going on. And they completely gaslighted her. They completely dismissed her. And now this is like a pre-endorsement meeting. So what's happening is on November 15th.
Yes.
We're having the Long Beach California Democratic Convention. It's going to be in Long Beach. It's going to be the endorsements where these local California congressional Senate, all these people get endorsed. The Democratic Party is going to endorse people. And so Maria is there at these pre-meetings to kind of voice her opinion as to, hey, you guys cheated, you guys rigged this in his favor, because she did run against Anthony Rendon in 2018. And a lot of her ballots were just randomly not counted, were randomly pushed aside.
And they admitted it.
And they admitted it, and they still, it's like the DNC nationally. They admitted it and still said it didn't matter.
You're not going to see that.
It wouldn't have changed the difference.
You're not going to see it in the news.
Yeah. So that the reason we're talking about this is not just because she was attacked, but because this is representative of the mafia, mob-like existence of the Democratic Party in California. And just so everybody knows,
especially in California,
the California Party, especially, it is so corrupt and they're so powerful. They have more money than the entire Democratic Party nationally has money. Just so you guys know, this is why we're watching our elections. This is why we're so hands-on what's going to happen the day we cast our votes, because we do not trust them for 1 second. And Alex Padilla is still Secretary of State. Yeah. Still, even though he was campaigning for Hillary Clinton actively in 2016, he's still there. And we are not being told that these machines are open source, and people want to say this is a conspiracy theory, that there's no proof, and that we're just ruining things for the Democratic Party. Yeah, we're ruining things for the elite and the establishment because we're calling it into question. And I'm sick of seeing these disgusting gangsters operate like this and treat progressives like this.
And I got to give a big ups to those people within the Democratic Party who are fighting to make a better Democratic Party. I met some activists the other day over at the Public Banking Victory Party, and it's great to see some of these people. They got a lot of guff, a lot of heart, a lot of spirit, because to be honest with you, I wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? This party to me is way so corrupt. I'm arguing with David Atkins on Twitter right now and stuff about the whole Biden thing. He's a California Democratic Party loyalist. He was on the commissions board. What was the board? The Credentials Committee. And just hearing him speak, this is appalling. This is terrible. This is disgusting. But we're going to let it stand.
Yeah.
It's like so dumb. It's like they do their little virtue signaling like, I am disgusted. But they don't do any action to
And
change
when it
anything.
comes time to vote,
They vote with the establishment.
Wah, wah, wah.
Elizabeth Warren supporter, by the way, that one. So
Do you have a do you have Fiorella's Facebook real quick that you can pull up?
hold up before I pull it up. To me, this guy looks like he got knocked out. So
You want me to do it? He
so
got
then-
knocked up. Out.
You got knocked the fuck out.
You had
You
to
guys
play
are
that,
so
right?
ridiculous.
I got
I
my
had to
Bobby
do it.
Boucher, so you were able to get your Chris Tucker. You got knocked the fuck out. Can you go to Fiorella's Facebook real quick and pull it up and see if they have the
GoFundMe.
The
It should
GoFundMe.
be, like,
We got to put it out there
second
for
or
the
third or fourth. It should be like down the.
It's just, I'm saying this is an activist who went to the aid of what happened to him. And you could just see the guy turn up, get in the face, start putting his hands on Maria Estrada, pushing her backwards. What would you do if you were there, ladies and gentlemen? What would you do?
Right.
I mean, I understand it might be annoying that she had the bullhorn and she was yelling in a media in a meeting. And let me tell you something. She had every right to do that.
Right.
They could have called the cops and got her out there. Nobody had the right to take the law into their own hands and try to remove this Maria themselves. Is it there?
Yeah, just a little bit further down, Johnny.
Wow, you post like crazy, girl.
No, people. There it is.
There it is. So here it is. You can see it. Go over the Fiorella's Facebook page if you can. And down below there should be a GoFundMe right here.
Or
you just click
Johnny,
on
you can copy the link and put it on our comment section.
Help
if you-
Anthony Mercado Defense Fund. And he's got $4,000 raised out of $10,000. Guys, let's help him out because they're trying to charge him with a felony.
It's disgusting. And this is again goes into play like how poor people and people trying to do the right thing get pushed down in the system, and now it's going to appear on his record that he was arrested for this. And it's disgusting. Like now he's in the system, and I just get so irritated. They're criminalizing poverty again, once again, an example of. And here in California, they've done exactly that. You can't be a homeless person and stand anywhere, pretty much. You can't sleep in your car.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. You can't exist. And then the only way you can solve the problem, because there's such a waiting list for shelters, and people like Mel are doing a lot of work and trying to get these bridge housings. But as we're doing this work, these real estate developers come in and offer much more money than a bridge housing would do, so they instead go with the bridge housing, and then they have this money sitting there and they're not using it properly. So it is a battle that we're fighting here, ongoing.
Yeah, you say that it's a crime against the poor. You know what I'm saying? It's an attack against the poor. We even and I've gotten a ticket here in Pasadena late night for having my car parked somewhere at 3:00 when I was babysitting Lucy. I literally parked the car and they gave me a ticket. There was no signs, but there's no parking late night from 2 to 6 in Pasadena. Why do they do that? Because they didn't want the homeless people parking their cars and sleeping in it. So they make these laws and these rules to deter people from doing it. Once again, it's an attack on the poor.
in California, the most progressive state in the United States, right? And a felony is a huge deal, guys.
It is
A
a
felony,
huge deal.
you know, like jobs in the future. Oh,
Yeah.
you have a felony.
Oh,
Bye.
you were arrested?
Oh, you were arrested.
Like
Yeah.
you have to explain yourself now, and then it's the whole thing.
Even the way it sacks you. I've been arrested before just recently, and it sacks you. $3,000 to a freaking bail bondsman for a case they're going to drop. But guess what? That $3,000, I'm never getting it back. Innocent as can be, the cops arrest you when you're poor in a poor neighborhood, and they ask questions later. But all that money goes
They did
into the
not-
system.
yeah.
It goes into the bail bondsman system. Now they're bail bonds friendly. They get their money. Now they have to have extra people at the jailhouse. They have, you know what I'm saying? They have to pay them money. The city can ask for more money. It's all a big scam, and it's directed at who? The poor.
Hey, fam. Jana Calton is asking, did they arrest a guy shoving Maria?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Nope. She's filing charges, but nobody can give her the name.
They had
That's
video
the
right there. They
information
had
we
people with video. Did the cops even talk to these people? Nope. They
They didn't get any witnesses.
none.
Right?
They
No.
didn't get to leave their statements or nothing. All these people are standing like, "Oh, you're with Maria Estrada. We're not listening to you. We're going to listen to the California delegates over here, the California Democratic Party, and what they say will go. We'll do their bidding." So now, if you go and speak up against the California Democratic Party, you know you'll get arrested because they'll listen to them and they won't listen to the grassroots.
Disgusting.
Mr. Orochi on our Convo Couch YouTube. Did you see the David Pakman's video on Tulsi?
Galaxy
Which one?
Pirates on Twitch. What's up?
Thank you for the $2
I don't
super
watch
chat.
David Pakman for reasons that it should be obvious. But
Why? Because he doesn't know how to do his hair? Looks like
Sorry.
Soupy Sales for crying out loud.
I'm just going to put that out there.
JVB says Fiorella is on fire in deep. LOL5. Vicious E.
Thanks.
Ryan Forpez says, good movie. He was talking about the little kids have hacked our voting machines within minutes on camera. It's a joke, and therefore our elections are too.
In Florida.
Listen, we question these people all the time. We say, are these open source? The guy said to me the other day, technically it's open source,
In theory.
but you haven't released the code yet. I know. So it's not fucking open source. There's intellectual property still within our machines. And guess what? The person who we saw the other day, I called him. He gave me his number. As far as signing up people for the polls, he never called me back. He never. I texted him twice. I called him. He didn't. The one guy. He didn't respond to my stuff. Like, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in California or if you're everywhere, anywhere, sign up to be a poll worker. Join the poll team. Whatever it is, have your cameras charged.
Yes.
Be ready. And if there's inaccuracies, you report them. Especially in California.
Send them to us.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
I encourage everybody in your own individual states.
Absolutely.
Get involved. If you are going to vote for a Bernie or a Tulsi, get involved in the Democratic Party. Get involved in the process. Get involved in the early election if there is any. Find out what's going on and let us know. Email us at the convo couch at
anything you
gmail.com.
see right now that is worthy of maybe, looking into, please let us know, because we are following these things closely. We want to go to places like Iowa. We want to go to places that like Nevada that are going to be, I know Melissa Michelson was in Nevada for the caucuses the last time around, and she was saying that it was just so disorganized. It was hard to count the people there and all of this. And she was one of the counters, and it was just a mess. Yeah. So.
And if you can help us out on our Patreon, your super chats, that's where all this money goes. We're junkies. Everybody in the house, our off time is talking about more politics. Two Leister says, Tim Canova, we love you, because Carrie Mark said Tim Canova is running again. As you know, Tim Canova is a friend of the show's.
He said he's waiting, though, to...
He's waiting to the last day to kind of announce and whatnot. But in the email that Nico talked about, but we'll get in contact with Tim Canova, friend of the show, see what he says. I believe her name is Jessica Perlman.
Mm-hmm.
Also, somebody we're interested in. Maybe we can get them together and have a little debate. Maybe we can talk about it. We'll see. We're not going to endorse anybody. We're just going to keep on reporting and getting the news out there. We want to be a good independent news channel. Sam Escamilla says, and I said
Hi,
Escamilla
Sam.
because it's Italian. If it's
Is
Italian.
it Italian?
I don't know, but I'm making
It's
Sammy
hard to tell
Escamilla.
the difference between Italian and Spanish sometimes.
If it's Spanish as Escamilla, right?
Yeah.
Escamilla.
Escamilla. Yeah.
So he says, keep on doing, keep what you do, all you do, Convo Couch.
Thank you.
He's got like the Milli Vanilli guy as his profile picture.
I know, right? Girl, you know it's true. Down with DWS show, Michael Cruz. Hey, Michael Cruz, we went out there the other day to the public bank and we were asking people left and right, do you understand MMT? Do you understand MMT? And why do you want to know? Michael Cruz wants to know, do you know MMT? So we were getting up in these people's faces. Some people understood, some people did not. But I think we need to keep talking about MMT, about how it really is pertaining. Bernie Sanders understands MMT.
Mm-hmm.
He understands that the Fed is going to be directed to create some finances, to print money. And they did, and they're doing it right now. But where does that money go? That is the question. I'm going to ask Steve Grumbine when I get a chance. Anything else, fam, before we get on out of here? Because the Islanders are playing. It's an hour into the game, and it's time for Islander hockey.
Fam, just go watch your game.
Guys, if you want to watch me and Johnny get the sticks, NHL 20 on PlayStation, or is it Xbox?
Xbox, yeah.
Same thing, whatever. Me and Johnny, we have a series going. Join our Twitch, and you can watch us play, and we'll beat up.
I gotta get a game that I can play that I'm interested in.
We're gonna
These
get
games
you a new FIFA when it
bore
comes
me.
out. We're waiting for FIFA 20. And what team are you gonna play first? Germany, Alemania?
I don't know. I have to decide.
Alemania.
And what's his name? Sammy Escamilla.
Mm-hmm.
Escamilla.
Thank you.
He put the pronunciation
Thank you,
out.
Escamilla.
Escamilla.
Thank you. That's what I thought.
Escamilla,
Paso to
let
everybody
him go.
to say it in the Italian way. Escamilla.
Let's do some final shout-outs before we get out here. Simon Doherty, Michael Cruz, Skip Kloll, Carrie Mark, Two Leister. We love you guys. Billy Bojangles. What a great name. Sammy Escamilla.
Congrats.
Josh Knorr. Ruth P. Thank you so much. Ghost Rider DOF. Fred Awkward. Or Edward. Fred Awkward. You're not Awkward, Fred. You're Edward. Brian Crosby. Simon Doherty. All on the Convo Couch YouTube. Thank you so much. On the MCSC network, Mike Fagan's over there.
Hi,
PC
Mike.
Computer 001. Cyril O'Reilly. Here's a cool one. Snork Y2K. I remember Snork Y2K. I used to see him on the Get Your News On with Ron. thread. Ryan Forprez, In Deep, JVB, who says, Fiorella on fire. And on the Facebook, we have Tim Johnson, Carl Hines, Steve Wolfbrand. These are all great friends of the show. We love you. Thank you so much for watching. Jason Small, how you doing? Mike Yu, Ungi, I don't know who you got tonight. I hope you took the Islanders. Thank you so much. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Gabriel Ramirez, big time fam, and Pejman G. I'm not going to say your last name because I'm not going to even try to butcher it. Thank you for watching the show. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, not only do we have a Facebook, a Twitter, a YouTube, a Twitch, we have a Rockfin, ROKFIN. Very important to take a look at. Rockfin is the way forward.
One more thing. Did we want to mention the...
So we were looking into Politicon, right? And we were like, oh, this is a really bad lineup, right? Where's the lineup? Where is it?
It's a terrible lineup.
It's a terrible lineup. Yeah. And it should be coming up, yeah. But anyways, Pasta put out a tweet today. And he was like, oh, 4 debates real progressives want. And he had a couple.
Yeah. We said Fiorella versus M, me versus the Progressive Voice, and Nico versus Anna Kasparian. That would be something that people want to get behind. And
Rockfin is interested in providing a platform where we can actually have progressives debate other people who call themselves progressives. So I think it would be a great idea. Let us know what you think about that.
Yeah. So once again, for Pasta Jardula
and Fiorella Isabel,
Johnny Sue.
Peace.
Combo out.
Bye.
Sorry, it slipped on your line.